step by step, and your blessing upon your blessing, and your
The Republic
blessing
movement
upon your
began in
blessing.
2016
The Republic
as
movement
Arnab Goswami
began in 2016
followed his dream
as Arnab Goswami
the vision
followed
of a
his dream.
journalist-run news
The vision
channel.
of a journalist-run news
Republic.
channel.
Republic! Once more! That's great! Once
The
more!
Republic movement germinated into an unstoppable and
Good morning and welcome. Hello, my dear viewers
morning of
and
Republic.
welcome. I don't know what the nation wants to know today. I don't know what the nation wants
today
to
the
know
game
today.
has just begun.
But
Never
today the
before
game
seen in the
has
history
just
of
begun.
Indian news
Never
television.
before seen in the history of Indian news television.
The love, the
support
anticipation
by the people.
The love, the support by the people. Path-breaking journalism that has inspired the trust of over a billion
that has
Indians.
inspired the
Stories
trust of over a
that have
billion
shook
Indians.
the corridors of power
Stories
in India.
that have shook
What is the
the
reason that
corridors
Sunil
of
Tingbe
power
has not
in
been
India.
arrested? What is the reason that Sunil Tingbe has not been arrested?
ये है रिपब्लिक मीडिया नेटवर्क। ये है रिपब्लिक मीडिया नेटवर्क और आप देख रहे हैं रिपब्लिक भारत। और आप देख
In
रहे हैं
2019,
रिपब्लिक
launching the
भारत।
voice India so desired, launching the voice India so desired, that woke up the Hindi news genre, the force that claimed the number one Hindi news genre in less than a year, claimed the number one spot in less than a year, the Hindi news genre, and claimed the number one spot in less than a year. The price we have paid for the popularity and upholding the truth. The journey of Republic we have paid for the popularity, the strength, and upholding the truth. With every journey of Republic has been in the strength we have gained with every victory. Republic Bangla, kotha hobe, chokhe chokhe. In 2021, in the midst of fighting against the biggest political witch hunt against the media organization, in the midst of fighting against the biggest political witch hunt against the media organization, was born Republic Channel that has won the hearts and minds of millions in Bengal and beyond. A channel that has won the hearts and minds of millions in Bengal and beyond.
ICU beds have been ransacked, they needed to tamper evidence. The ICU beds have been ransacked, they needed to tamper evidence.
The country have accepted us in their heart. We are truly the voice of the country have
In
accepted us in
2023,
their heart.
with a cumulative reach of an extraordinary 440 million, in 2023, reaching almost with a cumulative reach of an extraordinary 440 million, reaching almost 1 out of 4 Indians on a TV set, saw the birth of Republic Kannada, Republic Media Network's youngest channel. Today, the channel of choice Republic Media Network's youngest channel. Today, the channel of choice in Karnataka. One language at a time. Brick by brick, after state, our journey, one language at a time, into the Republic Media Network headquarters. Our journey has culminated into the Republic Media Network headquarters.
Today,
Asia's largest news complex
from the new
Asia's
headquarters.
singularly largest news complex. Asia's singularly largest news infrastructure for television and digital.
Today, we are seated
News
at Asia's
infrastructure for
largest
television
news
and
center.
digital.
Today, we are seated
As we bring
at
the new
Asia's
balance in
largest
media
news center in India and across the world.
As we bring the
we
new
get ready
balance in
to
media
go global in
We are
India
looking
and
forward
across
when
the
we
world.
will do global
As we
news
get
from
ready
this
to go
complex.
global.
We are looking forward when we will do global news from
Today,
this
we
complex.
host the India Economic Summit from the Republic Media Network headquarters. We host the India Economic Summit to reach every home the Republic in every language and take the Indian voice to reach every home in every
And we are
language
trying to
and
grow
take
our
the Indian voice global.
organization into different languages. We are trying to Bengali. We'll go organization into different languages. We've gone into Bengali. We'll do everything possible as a Marathi. We'll go into Telugu. We'll go into Tamil.
7 years,
We'll do everything
4
possible
channels,
as a team.
7 mega brands. Welcome
7 years,
to India's biggest
4 channels,
and most popular
7 mega brands.
news network. Welcome to India's biggest and most popular news network.
You all to this fourth edition of the India Economic Summit, and we'd like to call on stage the India Economic Summit Networks, and we'd like to call on stage to welcome you all and set the tone for the day. Arnab Goswami, to welcome you all, we would like to light the lamp, the tone for the day, and begin. But before that, we would like to light the lamp and begin today's summit.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Republic Media Network headquarters. Good morning, everyone, for making our day and coming Media Network headquarters. Morning. Thank you so much for making our day and coming here this morning. I think what brings us all together and as a group, I think what brings us all together, and I'm deeply grateful, first of all, for all of you our pride for our nation. And I'm ladies and gentlemen, we have the India Economic Summit scheduled today. Ladies and gentlemen, before that, what I wanted to start by speaking about is what makes. But before that, what I wanted to start by speaking about, a special and a very sacred place where we are today. For us, a special and a very sacred place. For us, ladies and gentlemen, this Republic Media Network headquarters is, ladies and gentlemen, this Republic Media Network headquarters the most advanced, by far, state of the art, the most advanced, state of the art, extremely technologically advanced, massively scaled up news complex, the one of its kind in the country, the largest in Asia, and possibly, though I haven't put a record to measure the tape and the length of this organization, it is possibly where we are today, one of the largest news complexes in the world today. It is not about the number of acres that this complex is encompassed in. It is not about the 3.5 lakh square feet of studio space. It is not about the hundreds of cameras or strobe lights or this beautiful auditorium. But it is about the passion that makes the Republic Media Network a one of its kind, completely special news organization in the world today. The fundamentals of this organization are very clear, and I must emphasize them again. What makes Republic special beyond the news complex, beyond what you will see today, is the fact that the Republic Media Network is the only independently journalist-owned news organization of this scale in the world, not just in India. And at a time when corporates and corporate entities think that they can buy over the media business, the Republic Media Network stands as a colossus challenging that idea, believing that it is journalists first, editorial first, news first. For us, news is not a business. For us, news is a passion. For us, news is a service for this country. And to do that service, we need to be independent. Independent in spirit, independent in thinking, independent in ownership, independent in finances, and independent in our ideology. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Republic Media Network will always stand the test of time as the only independently run journalist-owned news network professionally managed in a country which is the world's largest democracy, and as some global leader said yesterday, the next global superpower. This network, this complex, is a service for that. And we are proud of that. And I'm so proud of our people. I'm so proud of our people. When you walk around today in this campus, you will see some parts that are not completely constructed yet. You will see the odd tile not yet in place. You will see a lot of landscaping left to be done. You will also be amazed at the scale of our newsroom. You will love our studios. You will love walking around this place. You will love the brick. But let me tell you, it is not the brick that makes an organization. It is the people who live within it. And we are living a dream. It's like a fantasy for all of us. We are not dreamers alone. We are people who put our heart into it and make that happen. हम सपने सिर्फ देखते नहीं हैं. उसके लिए हर दिन परिश्रम करते हैं. और उस परिश्रम का नतीजा है ये Republic Media Network Complex. From this complex, ladies and gentlemen, जो मैंने कही, we put our money where our mouth is. Mohandas Pai is here. We walked around today. I remember Mohan, 8 years back, on a lawn in Goa. You remember that, Goa? 8 years back on a lawn in Goa, he and I had this huge fight. And Mohan likes to argue with people all the time. And he likes me because I argue. I'm the only one who argues with him. And I said, we can do a global news network from India. And Mohan likes to challenge people and say, no, not possible, not possible, because he wants the contrary view to come out. But today I promise you all, everyone here, two things. In the next 1 year, what Niranjan said was beautiful, Niranjan. We reach 1 in every 4 Indians. Why can't we reach 1 in every 2 Indians within 1 year? So within 1 year from now, our promise is, through languages, technology and digital and broadcast, we must reach 1 in every 2 Indians. And by next year, we have already built, and please go and see our dreams actually happen. Above the newsroom where Republic Bharat and Republic English operate from, there is already a global newsroom you will see, which we have already built and constructed. You will see production control rooms already built. You will see studios already built. In a way, we are already future ready. And therefore, we have built this infrastructure because we want to build, and we will build, and we will build very soon, and sooner than people think, India's first competitive global news network. The recent elections in America have made it very clear. There is no neutral media in the West. You cannot trust the BBC and the CNN. And therefore, when India takes its pride of place, because we are not a middle power anymore, we are a great power. We are not a great power. We are not a superpower in the making. And therefore, what we have done is we have said, how far can you dream? कितने सपने आप देख सकते हैं? और सपनों के तरफ कैसी नींव बना सकते हैं? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Republic Media Complex. जो आप देख रहे हैं, जहां आप खड़े हैं और जहां आप जाने वाले हैं आज, ये नींव है उस सपने की कि भारत एक ग्लोबल सुपर पावर बनेगा, और मीडिया नहीं होगा तो वो ग्लोबल सुपर पावर बन नहीं सकता है. So we are a dedication towards making India a global superpower. And we are very thrilled about it. We are very excited about it. For what we do is we live our dream and we say, can we make that happen? And I want to make one more prediction. People who think that they can do global news because they have money are totally mistaken. Ideas don't cost money. Ideology doesn't cost money. Nation first doesn't come with money. Belief doesn't come with money. The spirit of challenge doesn't come with money. This Republic Media Network is a fundamental belief that we can make dreams happen if we put our heart to it. 1000%, every single day. There is only one philosophy which guides us. We have many ups and downs. We have difficult days. We have challenging days. There are days when we feel we've not done enough. There are days when you feel you don't have enough. But every day when we walk out of that newsroom, whatever your mood may be, good or bad, and I want you to see that, especially so many people from forces here, you will only see emblazoned in red, in white on red, the colors of Republic, nation first. And we have written it there. Many people can claim to do the news first. But what we want to be is not just a news organization. We want to be the start of a nationalist movement in this country, where we believe everything we do eventually is in the service of the nation. And nothing we do can ever be against our national interest. And that is our belief. So if the God Almighty is with us, if our effort is true and pure, we have grown so much. Today I want to thank everyone. And I want to end with a small thought that 2017, when we look at our journey, we keep reminding ourselves how far we have come. So look around today. I know the bricks are not okay. I know a little bit of work needs to be done. Landscaping needs to be done. But I remember sitting alone in one room with 3 or 4 friends, family, believers, with just one laptop, in a co-sharing space. Some of you have come there and seen me there. 300 square feet of very difficult space behind Toddy Mills in Mumbai. सपना वहाँ से शुरू हुआ था. हमें नहीं पता सपना कभी खत्म होगा. मुझे लगता है सपने कभी खत्म नहीं होते, सपने चलते रहते हैं. And this is my continuing dream. This is our continuing dream. I want to tell you, people who have the kind of dedication and work. You know, we saw people today. You know what makes Republic special is its people. Today when we were walking around, I saw a journalists and senior editors say, have you done this here? Have you done that there? Has the red carpet been laid? Have you been to the newsroom? Has coffee been served here? You know, that feeling, that spirit, you can build companies, organizations, but you can never recreate the spirit. So what is the most exciting thing for me today is to meet people who share that spirit. And therefore, with all my heart and my love, I welcome you all to the Republic Media Network headquarters. Please enjoy your day. Spend as much time as you can with us. Have coffee, tea, explore the place. We will also organize guided tours around our complex. A few early visitors, I took them myself. But you'll be taken around. And when you go around, I want you to talk to our people. I want you to say hello to some of our people on the news desk. I want you to speak to them. I want you to ask them what they feel about being in Republic. I want you to just imbibe the atmosphere of the place and live our dreams with us, even if it is for just a day today and together in the future. So thank you very, very much for coming today and making our day special. We look forward to hosting you to the best we can, and we look forward to seeing you very often here in our complex in the future. Thank you very much. Over to the Master of Ceremonies. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arnab. You continue to inspire each one of us sitting here and everyone who's watching you at home. And as we move further, we'd like to take the opportunity to thank our gracious sponsors for their support. The India Economic Summit 2024 is presented to you by Adani, powered by Nippon India Mutual Fund. Wealth sets you free. Co-powered by Ravan Group, Bharosa Rakho, Surakshit Raho. Knowledge partner, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. Come, become. Also our e-commerce partner, India Zona, Bharat Ki Apni Dukaan, state partner, Uttar Pradesh Shasan. So now as we get started with our first session of the day with a very special man who has dedicated his life serving Bharat. An IES officer, he's not just played a pivotal role in containing insurgency in Chhattisgarh, but has also been instrumental in the development of Jammu and Kashmir by boosting more than 2,000 infrastructural projects.
Well, as the CEO of Niti Aayog, he has represented India at the G20 meetings while focusing on the sustainable growth of the Indian economy and launched the Growth Hub initiative to develop urban areas in a planned way for India to become a $50 trillion economy by 2047. Please join me in welcoming a visionary leader who has dedicated his life to building a better Bharat, the CEO of Niti Aayog, Mr. BVR Subramaniam.
Thank you, Arnab. Thank you, Republic TV, for inviting me. It's a nice feeling to be here. And it's fantastic actually hearing Arnab about his dreams, his aspirations. But not only the dream, but actually seeing a dream getting fulfilled. And I think there can't be a better setting than that to actually talk about the theme of the program, which is Viksit Bharat. But Viksit Bharat is also a dream. But just as this dream got fulfilled, if we work methodically, systematically, with ambition, drive, and consistency, even that dream can be fulfilled. I think that's important. And I think we need more dreamers in the country, because it is the dreamers who are going to take this country somewhere. It begins with the Prime Minister who dreamt of Viksit Bharat. He used that word about 2.5 years, 3 years ago. And since then, Viksit Bharat has actually entered common lingo. But then the question is, why are we talking about Viksit Bharat? What is Viksit Bharat? Why are we talking about it now? How is it relevant to us, to our lives, to our nation, and to us as individuals? And we've just come off a fantastic year. I mean, 23-24, we grew at about 8% plus. India is one of the fastest growing large economies in the world. India contributes almost 1/5 to 1/6 of the incremental GDP in the world. We're the 5th largest economy in the world. We couldn't have dreamt of that long ago. Mark my words, this time next year when the next India Economic Summit is held, India will be the 4th largest economy. And 3 years down the road, by 27, we will be the 3rd largest economy. India's place on the global stage is undeniable. It cannot be pushed off anymore. This century, the coming century, the 21st century is India's century. We are at an interesting point in India's history. We are at a cusp in the growth trajectory of India. From a long period of very slow growth of a country riddled with poverty, we are now going to take our place in the Committee of Nations as a leading country in the world. Just step back and think, where were we in 1947? This was a country which was written off. People were not sure whether the country would hold as one nation down the road. I mean, we have had a neighbor who has not been able to hold itself with just 2 provinces. India has not only held itself, we were living an existence which was called ship to mouth. You know, we're waiting for PM 480 food grain to land at the ports in Mumbai or wherever to get the next food out of our PDA shops. That was the condition of India. Where are we now? The entire government structure was designed to handle what? Famines, relief, floods, drought. This was, the country riddled with poverty, and the primary function of government was to somehow manage to keep people alive in the middle of poverty. That was India of 1947. Where are we today? We had some reforms in 91 that unleashed the private sector, but we didn't do the reforms willingly. They were done very unwillingly because we were under serious pressure on our foreign exchange. We were in a trade crisis, and we were compelled to do a set of reforms that unleashed a lot of growth potential in the country. But take where we are today. Last 10 years have been phenomenal. What this country has demonstrated in the last 10 years is a couple of things. We can do things with speed, we can do things at scale, and we can do things innovatively. A complete transformation in the capacity of government and society and business to deliver things on a large scale. Republic TV is an example of that. Something which was floated is now actually got global ambitions to be one of the leaders in media world and globally. I think India, as the 5th largest economy, needs to think like that. Do we have the attributes of a 5th largest economy? Not yet. We are 5th in terms of size. Do we have companies which are in the top 20 in the world? Do we have banks which are in the top 10 in the world? We have insurance companies, chartered accountancy firms, law firms, etc. Not yet. I think that's the kind of dream everybody should have. But the good thing is, last 10 years have been phenomenal in the way India has transformed itself. We have actually solved all the problems of the last 700 years. I'd say that the problems of the last century are over. What were the problems of the last century? Roti, kapda, makan. Get people food, get them something to do, get them shelter, get them some connectivity. Something that has been achieved phenomenally in the last 10 years is get people basic services at their doorstep. We have 100% connectivity by road, we have connectivity by electricity, every house has electric supply. By middle of next year, we should have water supply in every household, everybody has a telephone, there is shelter for everybody is covered under some food safety net, healthcare is being provided to individuals. These were the things which actually bugged India for the last 75 years. These are no longer problems. We have also demonstrated our capability in a large number of things. Look at the capital expenditure that has been there. Look at the transformation of India's infrastructure. The speed with which India is building infrastructure is unprecedented. India is actually looking like a construction site, which it should be. Because a country which is aspirational and is growing fast will look like a construction site. And as we go along, you can see a lot of that transformation actually hitting you. We are also not just doing that. We are also doing things innovatively. Digital public infrastructure is literally an Indian invention. We have taken technology and actually democratized it and put it in public space. I mean, be it Aadhaar, be it UPI. I mean, UPI accounts for 45 to 50% of all electronic financial transactions in the world, just UPI alone. I mean, it's sometimes a shocking thing that you go to a street vendor, and the street vendor, vegetable seller actually has a QR code in front of him or her. I mean, I actually was ashamed once when I went to a seaside, Mumfali Wala in Vishakhapatnam, and 10 rupees was what it was, and I pulled out a 100 rupee note, and the lady said, "Saab UPI nahi hai kya?" And then you recoil. There you are. They're actually more advanced. So the country has built a fabulous DPI infrastructure in the JAM Trinity, in the fintech space. But it's getting expanded into other areas, into agriculture, into the legal systems, into land records, across the board. And now we have got ONDC. The aim of ONDC is to democratize online e-commerce, to enable more and more people to get on board as suppliers, vendors, transporters, payment masters. So India has demonstrated its capability to do things. It's demonstrated its capability to do science and technology innovatively. We have landed on a difficult part of the moon which nobody has landed in. We have the cheapest mission that has gone to Mars. The science and technology in India is not jugaad. It's proper science and technology, but done efficiently, low cost, thinking innovatively. The first 3D printed rocket actually took off from IIT Chennai a couple of months ago. I mean, this is something unbelievable. It's the youth of India who are actually driving a lot of the change. They're the ones with dreams and aspirations. Having solved the problems of the last century, where are we today in 2024? We are at a very interesting point. We're the fifth largest economy, as I said. We are also a very, very widely spread economy. We are not a one-trick pony. We are not like Bangladesh, which lives on garments. We are not like a country which lives only on oil. We have an economy which is very diversified and covers the entire span of what an economy should. Agriculture, industry, services. India is as good as the best that come. Given that we have an economy which is diverse, given that we have another plus point in our favor, which is demography. India is not only the most populous country in the world, it's among the youngest countries in the world. Our median age is 29. The median age of China next door is 39. The median age of the United States is 38. Japan is pushing 50. Italy is pushing 50. By 2047, India's median age will still be less than what China is today. We will stabilize at about 160 crores. Democracy is in our favor. We have got a lot of things in our favor. This is a country which is ready to take off. And that's what the Prime Minister has identified. And it's a mark of his ability to look deep into the future, pushing out the mists which normally cloud our vision, and talk about Viksit Bharat. Why did he talk about it? He talked about it first in 2021 on the Independence Day from Red Fort. Because if you see what all we have around us, the entire systems that are there, having solved the problems of the last century, we are at a takeoff stage. So if you don't start thinking about the next step, we won't take the next step. It's like saying, I want to survive, I just want to have 2 meals a day. You have your 2 meals. What do you do next? How do I improve my meal? How do I live better? How do I go out and eat more? That is why he has forced people to think about Viksit Bharat. What does Viksit Bharat mean? Viksit Bharat is a very interesting thing. Viksit Bharat in a Western concept would mean a developed country. The World Bank has a definition for a developed economy. It is about $14,000 per annum per capita income. We, Niti Aayog, the entire government, working with the people of India, we have actually had inputs from more than 15 lakh people, have prepared a vision for Viksit Bharat. How will that Viksit Bharat look like? Viksit Bharat will be an economy which will be about $30 trillion. That's bigger than the United States today. Just to remind you how big would that be. It's very difficult to add these zeros. It's bigger than what United States is today. I'm not saying United States will be static. It will grow. But 30 trillion is something is very difficult for most of us to imagine. It means that 90% of India, with 3.5 trillion or so now, is yet to be built. This India is still in the works, in the pipeline. $30 trillion, $18,000. How will this country look like? It will be very different. Lifestyles will be different. It will be very, very urbanized. 50 to 60% of population will be urban. People will travel differently, they will work differently, they will commute differently. We will have to prepare for that kind of a day, which is going to be there in the future. How will governance look like? I, as a civil servant, 35 years career behind me, was not trained to handle the problems of a middle-income India. We were trained to handle the problems of a low-income India. Most of us are experts in poverty-related issues. If that is a thing of the past, we need governance also to change. And I think that is why the Prime Minister started hitting at the word Viksit Bharat. You need to improve the capacities of government. You need to have bureaucrats think differently, plan differently, recast governance. If you ask the government what are the biggest departments, it's agriculture, rural development. These are the big departments of government. If you look at the amount of money that goes in, the departments of the future are going to be quite different. Is it all also going to be run only by people inside government? Wrong. I mean, there is more talent. 90% of talent is outside government. How do we bring that talent to actually work in government? That is the India of the future. That is the Viksit Bharat we are actually planning for, working for. There are a couple of questions. Why are we talking about it now? We understand. But are there other things in our favor? Yes, many things. That we have solved the problems of the last century is in our favor. That we have the 5th largest economy is in our favor. That we have demography in our favor is a good point. There are other things also. Geopolitics, by good fortune, is in our favor. There are our neighbors who are not the most popular countries around the world. The world wants India to succeed. China +1 is something which is bugging every major multinational. People are looking for options for buying stuff, getting their supply chains out. That is an opportunity which is going to be in India's favor. Both supply chain realignment as the general drift away from China. The drift is not only because of geopolitics, it's also because of demographics. China's own population is shrinking. By 2047, when India will be a 165 crore country, the population of China will actually be around 120 or 110 crores. End of this century, China will be less than 100 crores. So it's a country whose size will be shrinking, and we will be growing a bit larger, and then we'll stabilize about 160 crores. So given that, for lack of employees, lack of labor, people will move out of China. India has a huge opportunity. There's another opportunity staring at India, which is technological change. Two major things are happening. One is climate change. A lot of people talk about climate change as a threat. It's also an opportunity because the way you travel will change. You'll move from IC engine to EVs. You'll consume less coal-based power. You'll consume more of, solar power. There'll be a technological change associated with climate change. Simultaneously, another technological change is happening, which is artificial intelligence and all the related stuff. AI is again seen as a threat. AI could be an opportunity. Given this entire sector is driven by humans, by people, it's all software. I mean, that's one of the best strengths we have. So both these disruptions, climate change and artificial intelligence, are going to work in India's favor for a very simple reason. They will equalize everybody. Technological disruptions remove the differences between countries and make them on the same footing because everybody is at the same starting point. When the IC engine got invented, the steam engine becomes less relevant. When electricity gets invented, whatever was there before becomes irrelevant. So when these new disruptions are there, we are on the same footing. Think of a country, take the United States. It gets a lot of its power from coal plants. A lot of Europe gets a lot of power from gas plants and coal plants. They have to rewire their entire economies for a green economy. We are yet to build our economy. So we can actually build them green from day one. So we actually are an advantage because we don't actually need to recast our existing industries. We will be building new industries. So these technological disruptions are in our favor. So if you count what are the things in our favor, our economy is in our favor, democracy is in our favor, geopolitics is in our favor, our own stature in the world, which the Prime Minister has raised. India is seen as a friend in the world. It's seen as a leader of the global South. Why did nobody think of getting Africa into the African Union, into the G20 till India became a president? Everybody saw that it's the largest continent in the world, a growing continent, but it didn't occur to anybody. Why so? It's a very interesting point, a thought process. It shows that the biases we were just hearing from Arnab a little while ago are there subliminally in everybody. Till somebody woke up and said, why can't you actually get them in? Nobody refused after that because it's undeniable. These things are in our favor. Technological change and disruption are in our favor. If we use all these things correctly, if we take advantage of all the things which are in our favor, in 25 years' time, we will actually be Viksit Bharat. It's not that this is easy. We will have to keep growing at 9% or so for 25 years. Very few countries have done that. Very few countries have grown at 9% for 25 years. The United States, to become a developed country, took 100 years. We are trying to do it in 25 years. There are about 10 countries which have done it. South Korea has done it. Singapore has done it. There are examples. Chile has done it. But there are not more than 10. The World Bank did a study around 2010 or so. In 1960, the world had 101 middle-income countries. Only 10 of them became a developed country by 2000. It's difficult. But with determination, with a government which is steady, with one eye on the long term, which is reform-oriented, which doesn't take decisions in the short term but takes decisions in the long term, and which has dreams and aspirations, whoever it is, I think we can achieve this goal. India is destined to become Viksit Bharat. The strength of this, we have a Telugu saying, Desamante matti kadoy, Desamante manushuloy. A country is not mud and dust, it is people. And I think the strength of India is people, and a government which captures the spirit of the people and pushes them forward, we can achieve it. I've just laid down a very general thing. Very detailed plans are there. And there's another thing that's happening which will actually help. It's not only at the national level that we are thinking of Viksit Bharat. We are thinking of Viksit Bharat at state levels also. And Viksit Bharat comes only from Viksit Raj. So you need to have Viksit Raj. So for example, Niti Aayog is working with about 12 states, preparing visions for 12 states. And we've released one for Gujarat, Andhra is about to be released, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, you name it, across the country, Goa, Assam, the entire eastern region, Rajasthan, Punjab. We're working with everybody because everybody has to work in harmony, in tandem. Everybody has relative strengths. Everybody's aspirations will be slightly different, and we'll have to work, strategize. But I think those plans are falling in place, and I'm sure we'll be able to achieve that. Thank you very much.
Sir, we would request you to be on stage. Sir, thank you so much for your valuable insights on Viksit Bharat. I'm sure the vision that BVR Subramaniam just put forth has left all of us recharged and excited about the infinite possibilities that the country holds today. And we will be now getting into a session with BVR Subramaniam and another fantastic speaker, Shawan.
Well, in fact, we here at Republic TV truly believe in India's growth story, and that is the reason why perhaps our next speaker suits the most here. We would like to invite our next speaker for the day, who not just provides free meals to nearly 1.6 million children across the country every day, but he has also given startups like 88 Academics and Pepperfry a chance to thrive. In fact, he has also been a part of numerous prestigious organizations, including the FICCI, SEBI, and the Board of the National Stock Exchange of India, has been awarded Padma Shri for his work. And as the former CFO and board member at Infosys, he was voted as the CFO of the year for several occasions. Join me as we welcome Padma Shri, Shri TV Mohandas Pai, for an exciting discussion on India's $50 trillion economy dream with Niti Aayog CEO BVR Subramaniam, moderated by Executive Editor, Republic Media Network, Niranjan Narayan Swamy.
Thank you, Mr. Mohandas Pai and Mr. Subramaniam. In fact, after we launched Republic Kannada, so we've been spending a lot of time in Bangalore. So Mohandas Pai, this day starts like this. He wakes up in the morning and takes on the Congress government. Before he goes to bed, he takes on the Modi government. He's a Modi government backer. He's also a Modi government critic, right? Mohandas Pai, how do you manage to be both a backer and a critic and yet outspoken and maintain so many friends?
Well, I think the important thing is to love your country and put your country first like Arnab does. In fact, I want to congratulate you, Arnab, for doing this. This is the new India that we all dream about. In India, which will take its standing in the world, we are 17% of humanity, and we must think like 17% of humanity, not a third-rate, third-world country. So we must dream big, create things big, and we must have visible signs of progress. So young people get inspired to think big, because we are the big country and we are going to be the most dominant big country in the world. And the planet belongs to us, not to the United States or to Europe who are shrinking. So thank you very much for this. I think the important thing is to be politically neutral. Praise the government, any government which does work well. Critique the government when they don't do work without having any ideological bias. And look at India first and put the interest of all Indians first. And two, very importantly, contribute personally to all political parties. Arnab, the tragedy of this country has been, we are not paying the price for democracy. Democracy is expensive. I was speaking to a minister in Karnataka, and he said in the local Lok Sabha election, each assembly spent 20 to 30 crore rupees. In one assembly, they spent 160 crore rupees. You can imagine what is happening in Maharashtra today. They'll be spending 3 to 4,000 crore rupees. So democracy is expensive. Where do they get money? They get money through other means. So the crooked people get money, right? The crooked contractor get money. The contractors give money, and politically they become, immune to all these people because they've got to pay back. I asked a former prime minister from Karnataka, why do you give seats to very corrupt people? Then he told me, man, do you give me money? You abuse me every single day. You criticize me every single day. You don't give me money. They give money. I need money to run the political party. So I give my personal contribution to all political parties for the last 15 years by check. And I tell them, I want my name there. In fact, recently I went to meet a minister in Karnataka. He said, what? You gave money to us? I said, yes. Then one member from Delhi, who's very close to the earlier ancient regime, abused me. I called him a darbari, I called him a family returner, I called him a court jester, and told him I'm one of the biggest contributors to his party, individually. So I think the key is to be independent, to be bold. And I don't believe that we have to live in fear. Though today, Arnab, much of business lives in fear in this country. So we need more people to stand up and to believe this country belongs to us. And these people are the people who are there to drive this country for us. And the political leaders are answerable to us and speak up. And if you do it honestly, they respect you. I visit all political parties and have a honest conversation.
Yeah. I'll take one part of what you said. First of all, there's only one former Prime Minister from Karnataka, so you gave it away. Secondly, you said businessmen live in fear. I want to put that to BVR Subramaniam because, so when
explain that.
Okay, go ahead.
Why do businessmen live in fear? In the UPA era, all political parties use ED and income tax for whatever purposes, okay? I mean, Arnab was a victim of, in Maharashtra, right? They use it for various purposes in the guise of enforcing the law. In the UPA era, if somebody came home and did something to you, you could go make a deal with the minister. Okay. In the NDA, you can't make a deal. They don't allow you. And so they got the powers back. But the problem is, there is no end to the litigation. It goes on and on and on. Why can't they file a charge sheet, prosecute people, and close in 3 years? It goes on, and there's rent seeking. I know 3 cases of rent seeking by these agencies, and in fact, I wrote a letter to a very top political leader in Delhi saying that 55,000 high net worth individuals have left this country in the last 10 years. And we have about 3 lakh crores of purchasing power, which has gone away because each of them will spend 2 to 3 crores a year. It is a big worry, not because they're not doing the job, because they're not ending it, and there's no political oversight on them to make sure they do the job. They have to file charge sheet, they have to close the case in 3 years because we are victims of a broken justice system. The broken justice system is one of the biggest challenges this country faces because we don't get justice by going to court. It takes 15 to 20 years. And like our president, Honorable Prime President told the Chief Justice, keep justice to poor people. This country lacks justice. So all this has come together, and that's the reason I make this statement.
I want to get a response from Mr. B.V.R. Subramaniam to that. You heard what he said. I saw you nodding. I don't know whether you agreed with him, especially on the delayed litigation part, Mr. Subramaniam.
Nodding meant I was trying to absorb what he was saying.
Yes. So, do you agree with him that when he says that businessmen live in fear? I don't know whether businessmen want to strike a deal, but he also says that you can't strike a deal today with the government because he's primarily saying that they are not corrupt, right? But is there anything more that the government can do to help speed up the litigation process?
Okay, let me try to disentangle a lot of things which Mr. Pai said. Number one, there have been tremendous improvements in the last decade or so in the way our tax systems and other systems operate. At the individual level, I think the tax system is no longer a nuisance. You not only have electronic filing of taxes, you have faceless assessment. You actually don't know who is assessing you, and the person who is assessing you doesn't know who you are. So that has actually made life easy for millions of people. What is the problem on the corporate side? The corporate side have actually seen tremendous reduction in the tax rates over the last decade. 15% taxes is among the lowest in the world. What is actually the problem is it's not a question of fear. I don't like the way the tax system operates in terms of how it affects me. So the taxes, some groups may feel are too high. Some may feel that, and it's particularly true of the city where he comes from, which is Bangalore, which you have a lot of startups, etc.
Yes.
They are the people who are actually thinking of shifting headquarters to Dubai, Singapore, because they are trying to move to low tax jurisdictions. And it's not just owners, it's even employees. Because when ESOPs vest with them, there are taxes which are going to kick in. It's not a fear of the taxman. It's a fear of a new tax rate which I will be, asked to pay. I think improvements are being made in that. For example, you see the last budget, the angel tax was actually reformed. I think you have a listening government which has got its ear to the ground, and it is modifying things as and when it is required. The movement of rich people or high net worth individuals is actually a global phenomenon. You will find a larger number of high net worth individuals moving from London to New York, from New York to some place in Europe. This is a global thing. People in that category are actually global citizens. They move around. Right. But if you look at the bulk of Indian citizenry and high net individuals, they actually live in India. Because this is where the business is. In fact, thanks to things like Gift City and all coming up, I am actually seeing a reverse move of high net worth individuals coming in. But an additional point which he said, which is very, very relevant, and I'd like to mention that. The problem of litigation. I think the problem of litigation, be in the tax area or in general, I think is going to be a big burden on the country. The slowness of the judicial processes in India, multiple levels of appealing cases which go against you, that is going to be a very big burden. The average time of disposal then drags on for years. Businessmen in particular don't like that. They want quick settlement of cases. Even if I lose the case, I want closure.
Correct.
I don't want an unending drag. I think with 3 to 4 crore cases pending in our judicial system, income tax and other departments going in for multiple filings, when they don't like to lose a case, so they just keep going up and up. I think we need to have finality. This year there were some changes in the budget. I think they put a sunset clause, 10 years or so beyond which cases will not be appealed, etc. They put floors below which they will not be appealing. But I guess we need to do much more work. But I see that you also have to realize the thinking of a country which was a poor country is going to be different from the thinking of a country which is going to be a rich country. So I think the transformation is on. Tremendous efforts have been made. I think the thinking at the top has changed completely. A lot of it has yet to filter down.
Yeah. I saw you violently disagreeing with him in the beginning.
I'll give one data because,
go on.
In 2014, tax disputes were 4,25,000 crores. They gone to 12,30,000 crores in 2024. And is increased despite Jaitley telling us in 2014 and putting in the manifesto, tax terrorism will stop. And this angel tax was such a disaster. We have gone and met several times to tell them. They didn't listen except this time. And it happened this time, I know this, because the opposition put it into their manifesto. And it happened this time because I know what happens in Delhi. We have gone many times. They amended the law 4 times. I met with the PMO to amend the law. They amended 3 times when I was there meeting them because they wrote the law differently because the bureaucrats. You see, the problem is like this. There is a tax research unit which writes the law. The bureaucrats, their secretaries don't read the entire thing. So they write what they want and they want to control it. Anyway, let's do one thing.
If I get you right.
No, let's do one thing. Okay. Let's speak about the future. Forget the past. Let's speak about how to grow India to 30 trillion. Let's speak about that.
Okay.
That's better.
Mr. B.V.R. Subramaniam, I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, some of the points that you made, you spoke of a young population compared to the global population. You spoke of alternate transport systems that are required in India, right? The vision looks beautiful, but looking at India's political system, the political spectrum, you have governments that will go all out to back you in that vision, and governments that will do everything possible to block that vision. How do you balance that, Mr. Subramaniam?
I would say that barring 1 or 2 states in India, everybody is aligned with a vision. We have had changes in government in Delhi from 91 till now. Has the economic direction of governments changed? Not at all. One of the things with India is stability in policy. We stick to what we say. And course corrections are there. And if you look at it national level, as I said, barring a state here and there, by and large, irrespective of the nature of the government, people are working hard to actually realize the vision. As I myself have said, the Niti Aayog's governing council consists of all the Chief Minister of India, and it's chaired by the Prime Minister. And that's where he gave a call for states to prepare visions. All states are preparing visions. Even a state like Tamil Nadu, which is quite critical of Delhi, has prepared a vision for itself. So this, and when I just heard Mr. Pai say that Karnataka government has also prepared a vision. I also know cases where there have been changes in government at the state level, but the governments have stuck to the path. So I think you will have minor changes at the margins, but by and large, something which is taking the people forward is not something the political class is going to dislike. They're going to actually embrace it. I actually know a live example where there's been a change in government, and irrespective of change in government, the work is going on.
Yeah. Mr. Pai, you have very strong views. I mean, I've read some of your tweets, and in the south, and when I say in the south, in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, in Telangana, in Andhra Pradesh, it's become a narrative now for political opponents of the BJP. They say that southern states get a raw deal from the center, right? And there's a huge sentiment built around New Delhi. Do you think there is some base raw deal?
Absolutely. But before that, let me join issue with him because he and I are on the same page about the future of India.
Yes.
Give me 2-3 minutes to talk about that.
Please go ahead.
To build a country, you need 3 things: human capital, physical capital, financial capital. In human capital, we don't have a population issue because we're growing at, fertility has come to 2.0. We're growing at 0.8%. The whole of the south has a fertility of 1.7. Punjab 1.6 because they seem to be going out somewhere else. And by 2035, 1 or 2 states in the south will actually shrink in population. And I believe by 2040, India's population will start shrinking because we are not producing enough babies. Now the population is going up primarily because, we are living longer and more healthy. That's point number 1. Point number 2, the big challenge for India is an aging population. We have 13 crore people above the age of 60 today. It'll go to 20 crore people above the age of 60 by 2030. China has about 25 crore going to 35 crore. So that issue we have to tackle. And if you look at education today, 1,200 universities, 55,000 colleges, 4.3 crore young people in college, 1 crore graduate every year, 28.7% gross enrollment rate, and we have more women graduating than men. In America, 56% of graduates are women. When more women graduate than men, the country changes and India is changing. And if you look at social groups, which I don't think politicians in Delhi look at data, and I would like him to talk about this data because they publish the data.
Yes.
If you look at who are the graduates, SC makes up 18.2% of population, I think, the last census. There are 16.2% of students in college. Tribals make up 8.2%, there are 6.2%. Backwards are 40% of population, 36% of students. And Muslims are 15%, only 5.2%, but that's because of bad community leadership. And all these communities, enrollment is growing at 6.2%. Enrollment is growing at 3.6% for the whole country. In another 5 to 6 years, we'll have 7.5 crore people in college with the GR going to 50. But we have solved the access issue in education. We need quality. So what is the big challenge in human capital? The big challenge is, can we create enough jobs? And let me give you data. Between 2000 and 2020, we had 50 crore Indians being born. We are producing 2.5 crore babies a year. Right now, it's come down to 2.3, and by 2030, it'll come down to 2 because it's coming down. They're all entering the workforce, 2.5 crores a year. 1.5, 1.6 crore required jobs. We are creating 1.6 crore jobs as per EPFO, but 80% of jobs pay only 20,000 rupees. We have to increase. So there is a lot of backlog. Today, 45% of the workforce is in agriculture, and in agriculture, remarkable thing has happened. Women make up 63% of workforce, men 37%, and more women are working. PLFS data says women are 45% of workforce, and thus going up. There's a social churn taking place, and the need for number one priority for India, for Viksit Bharat, should be the creation of good quality jobs. We require different strategy. For example, he must pick up 300 of the poorest districts and create special employment zone and incentivize job creation. Now they got this internship program, which I think is very anemic. It's a good thing, but very anemic, because we must create labor-intensive jobs in the poorest districts where people are coming off the ground. We must invest in the urban sector so that India grows, because the urban sector creates more jobs and taxes. Today, let me give you data. We spend 8 lakh crore as subsidies. 3.5 lakh crores or 4 lakh crores union government. My government in Kannada is spending 1 lakh crore. We are broke. Tamil Nadu spends 1.42 crores. They're borrowing money to give subsidies. So is my government in Karnataka, because they increased it by 56,000 crores in 1 year. And what we need to do is we have to spend 50,000 crores on innovation, on the future. We've got to spend 1 lakh, 2 lakh crores more on urban areas to create that. Second, I'll finish quickly. Physical infrastructure, we're doing well. Extremely well. We're building highways, we're building roadways, our ports are becoming world-class, our airlines are going bonkers, and we're getting stuck in traffic. In Bangalore, out of 1.2 crore people, we have 1.1 crore vehicles, 35 lakh cars and 65 lakh two-wheelers, and no roads. So we got to build public transport, we got to invest hugely in mobility in areas for infrastructure. But one thing that maybe Mr. Subramaniam has to do is, why can't we work 3 shifts in infrastructure? Work 3 shifts. Remove all the labor laws for infrastructure projects of national importance. China in Beijing built a 8-lane elevated road of 30 kilometers from the city to the airport in 11 months. Why can't we do it in this country? Because we don't work 24 shifts. So infrastructure is going. Government is spending $250 billion, 22 lakh crores or so, and that's going up. And incidentally, you'll be surprised. We invest $1 trillion a year in capital expenditure in every year. We are the only 3 countries doing that: the United States, China, and India. $1 trillion. All this bogus news about private sector not investing is bogus, because nobody reads data. National income statistics give the data. So I think we are in very good shape, but we got to do more. The third thing is about financial capital. $4.75 trillion in GDP in stock market. The czar is here. He's creating billionaires every day because they're going public. We are 267 billionaires in 3 years. Because of him, we'll have 500 billionaires. A lot of people, but make sure they stay in this country. They don't run away to Dubai or somewhere else, which he has to do. And we are creating great value. So capital is being available. We are one of the most efficient stock markets in the world. SIP is coming up. We invest $60 to $70 billion a year in the market. That is solved. Banking system is in great shape. SBI this year will make 75,000 crore net income. The 3 top banks will earn 2 lakh crore net income this year, more than the 3 top banks in Japan, who are 5 times their size. So we got a great banking sector, and we got and the debt markets have to improve. So we got about $10 to $11 trillion of financial assets, $1.5 trillion of gold. Now this is the base. Now 4 or 5 things we should do. Focus on creating high quality jobs. Incentivize job creation first, not the anemic program that he has got. Because
why do you call it anemic?
No, it's anemic because, you're giving some internship, pay 5,000, 6,000, not going to work. It's not going to work. You have to have, let us say you pick up these 300 districts. Get all the labor-intensive industries. How do you judge labor-intensive? Look at the top 10 exports of China. $800 billion in electronics, $200 billion in garments. Get them and ask and make sure you incentivize them to locate there with good transportation, good roads, good power, and give them, say, 2,000 rupees a month as incentive for 24 months for getting new jobs. Pay their ESIP up, which they're already doing, and focus on them like you did this aspirational district. If you focus there, the people coming off the land will come there, and what will happen is the people coming to the cities and who live in the slums will go down, and then we'll pay the true cost of labor. You see, in Delhi, if you don't pay a driver 30,000-40,000 rupees, you are exploiting the person. We have to increase minimum wages in the big cities, create a 25% differential to tier 3 cities, so people have labor-intensive jobs in tier 2 cities. I think that's important.
Okay.
And next is remove much of the regulations. Okay. Invest in innovation. Have a 50,000 crore fund a year to invest in innovation. They did a 10,000 crore fund in 2015, which you all went and got it done to the Modi government. It worked well. We got about 1,200 AIFs, 7.5 lakh crores of money which is committed, 5 lakh crores, but
Yes.
we need 3 times that. In the last 10 years, America invested $2.34 trillion in venture and innovation. China, 835. We were $150 billion, out of which 85% came from overseas. So we need more investment, public investment, to create high-quality jobs. So I think all these things, last point, the great hope for India is the World Development Report of the World Bank in 2024 said India is one of the countries which will escape what he calls the middle income trap. Why? To escape the middle income trap, we need innovation, we need technology. There are 3 great digital powers in the world today: United States, China, and India. And the US is the digital power because of India. India has $220 billion in software exports, 60% of global outsourcing,
Yeah.
about 7 million people working in software. America has got 10 million people. Out of the 10 top software service companies, the market value, 5 are Indian. Of the 5, 3 are Indian. Of the 3.2 million employees, the top 10, 2.3 million are Indians. 50% of global hiring outside China in software is Indians. In Bangalore has got more people in software, 25 lakh people than California, which is 15 lakh people. 60,000 IT companies, 20,000 startup, 45 unicorns. And this innovation needs investment, which is not doing.
He's not doing.
Investing enough. He's not investing.
Can I get him to respond?
No, let him respond. Before that last point, in my state of Karnataka, we have a minister which says IT. Look at the investment is doing. Sitharaman is investing 56,000 crore in freebies. How much in innovation?
Yes.
300, 400, 500 crores.
There's no money for roads. I know there's no money for roads, there's no money for infrastructure, there's no money for schools.
Because we have to invest in R&D,
Yes.
in AI, in quantum computing, in genomics, in many other front, in robotics. We have to invest. And those are long gestation. We have to put money there in a big way, and public investment has to come, because we have spoiled our R&D. We start this National Research Foundation. It's in Delhi. It'll be captured by the leftists very soon, and they'll give money to JNU and all these places which don't do any
You have
activity.
very strong views, Mr. Mohan Basu.
No, we need strong reforms to grow to 9% from 7%. We're
Yes.
not going to go to 9% unless he takes tough decisions. Prime Minister Modi has to take tough decisions next 1 year to make us go to 9%. Liberate us from Delhi. Give us a freedom. We got a freedom back after 91.
Liberate us from Delhi.
Liberate us from the clutches of Delhi and all the bad regulations. Give us free.
Many
Invest in
quotable quotes
innovation.
today.
You will get Viksit Bharat faster than you think.
Okay. Mr. Subramaniam.
No, first of all, with people like him, we will be on the way to Viksit Bharat. I first of all admire the quantity and quality of data that he's reeled out. I mean, I actually have a job for him. I'm looking for a data boss in Niti Aayog who can process data. But things apart, firstly, a couple of things. First of all, I mean, there were a couple of points which I agree with a lot of things, but disagree with some. Number one, the nation India is a contract. It's contract between regions. It's a contract between people of different classes, communities, that we believe that our future is collective and our future is together.
Yes.
Therefore, the rich pay for the poor. One region subsidizes another region. Different classes pay for some other classes' benefit. I think that is the social contract of the Indian state.
Yes.
And so we have to admit that I don't think anybody is being done in. There are constitutional processes which actually come to strike a balance. You have a finance commission which sees that no region is actually left behind. The poorer regions obviously do not raise that much money. Somebody else has to pay for that. And the whole idea is the country can go forward. You can't have a country cannot become Viksit, which if it has deep regional imbalances. Rather than moving people from one part of India to the other, it's better to move money and investment from one part of India to the other. I think that's a larger social contract to the Indian state. Two, I think let me put it the challenges for Viksit Bharat, because that's kind of things where he's drawing attention to, of course, a bit impatiently. Number one is that, what is our dividend, which is a demographic dividend, can be a challenge or a curse if we do not address it properly. I think that's the sum and substance. While we have people, the people should be equipped to have, competencies which can give them a good livelihood. So that means we need to invest money. And I actually wouldn't care for investment in innovation and all these things. I would say if you want to invest money today, and if you had only 100 rupees where you put it, I'll say education, 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 and nothing else. You give a guy education, they will last themselves, they will make India Viksit. It's that education which has brought out people like Mr. Pai or people like me to do what we are doing. And I think we all come from very humble backgrounds. The education is what lifts people to that level. We have provided access to universal education. What I think we need to focus is on lifting the quality of education. See that they have basic functional literacy skills. I think so. I think functional literacy and FLN they call it, and numeracy skills. We need to focus on that. 2, we need to see that they are ready for employment. 3, focus on creating industrial sectors which are actually job intensive, which are labor intensive. What would they be? In the initial stages, there'll be leather, there'll be textiles, there'll be a whole lot of such stuff. This is what China grew on. China didn't grow by making EVs and semiconductors on day one. Even the Apple phones came much later. They grew on leather, textile, shoes, and that kind of stuff. Then moved to the next stage, and then now they are advanced and they are competing with the United States. I think we need to do all three together simultaneously because we don't have much time. Which means we need to make our policies very, very labor friendly, investment friendly for labor intensive industry. Here I'd like to say one point. Bulk of the lifting in Delhi has been done. And when I say Delhi, I actually read Delhi as symbolic of government. When he says liberators from Delhi, what he's actually wanting to articulate is liberators from government. Yes. And I think that's one of the things the Prime Minister has been doing, when he says, maximum governance and minimum government. Liberators from government. What are the government stuff which actually bother you today? Barring income tax and other customs which are at Delhi, everything is at state level. Your land, your labor, your electricity, your water supply, your roads are all with states. If you see India developing differentially across, it's because of quality of state governments. If a state government mucks up, that state doesn't develop. If a state government is able to provide, I know somebody who, Ola, and I asked Bhavish, why are you setting up the factory here and not there? And he said, they understand industry.
Yes.
Finished. That explains it. Yes. Please understand, when you as an individual go for an investment, who do you face? You don't face Government of India. You face states. You fade into, so people go to Gujarat because indexed B actually takes you where you want to be. You go to Tamil Nadu or you go to Andhra, there is something. You go somewhere else, you go to West Bengal, I don't know which door to knock on. You pull back, So I think the next set of change that has to be there. Again, coming back, what are the things? If you have to invest in, as I said, we are doing a lot on physical capital. We have to do a lot on human capital. Who runs schools in India? It's states. The central government doesn't even run 1% schools in the country. Who runs? He mentioned 1,600 universities. The central government doesn't run 100 universities. Everything is in the states. 97% of students in India, because central universities tend to be very small, they're not affiliating universities. 97% of students in India at college level go to state universities.
Yes.
So that system has to be improved. I think steps are being taken. Government of India is trying to fund new education policy, all that. I think the nudge is there. Look at the smart things the central government is doing. I think a couple of years ago, particularly during COVID, they started giving a lakh of rupees to states. Additional borrowing, permissible only if you do certain reforms. The whole idea is to nudge them to do the right thing. I think states have figured out. What does NITI do? We produce a large number of indices. We produce an SDG index, trade readiness index, all kinds of stuff. Basically to make states realize how bad they are or how good they are. Because I think the next set of challenges is at state level. There is, if you actually sit down and tick the boxes, what has Delhi not done? Most things have been done in Delhi. As I said, excepting some things related to tax where we need to improve. Bulk of the action is in states. You have a very good port. You have a factory. that road of 8 kilometers will be terrible. I don't even want to mention the state. So, that's a big disadvantage. Yes. So it's this last mile stuff, that's with state. Who controls public transport in the country? Who runs bus systems in the country? States. If Bangalore traffic is bad, states have not invested in public transport. That's where you are going.
Includes both BJP and
so what I mean is, it is states, and that's where. And I think there's a huge education process going on needed for state political leadership.
Right.
Take Niti, for example. I'm giving you. We prepared a program called Growth Hubs. Cities as growth hubs. The next driver of growth in India is going to be cities. We have left cities to urban planners and architects. When you talk of a city and you talk of anything, you talk about master plan. Most often violated, not complied with. It will be full of slums where it is written green areas. Yeah. Why? Because cities are living entities. Economic.
Director, the taste of success. Get land prices down. So there are a whole range of stuff. Government is working on that. My only thing is, I like the impatience which is there, but governments have to learn to be patient. Because you need to take everybody along. And taking everybody along is a time-consuming process.
Okay, Mr. Pai.
Look. Reforming the justice system is a central government issue. Because one, invest in justice system, give money to have more lower courts, more judges, subsidize them, because states are not going to do it. I ask a chief minister.
Solution. If you put more judges and more courts, if you think things are going to be faster, no. You would need to change the mentality of the judicial system, not to give adjournments. You see the speed with cases are decided in London. I mean, 5 or 6 sittings, a case is decided. In 3 months, you get a decision. So it's a cultural issue. It's not an investment of money issue. No. You actually need to change the way judges work at the bottom. Have you seen the number of cases actually a United States judge handles on the Supreme Court 7 cases in a year, no more. So everything doesn't get, here a bail application goes to the Supreme Court.
Can I ask you a question?
If you're State Bank of India headquartered in Bangalore, State Bank pays 25,000 crores, is not Karnataka's share, is all India share. So corporate tax comes from all India, is not your share. Income tax also, part of it substantially from local, but it comes from all India. Custom duties come from the ports, whoever has got the port. UP doesn't have a port, maybe an inland port. And then excise duties, of course, local states. Now, when you have this 15th or 16th Finance Commission, we have seen Karnataka share decline from 5.5% to 3.6%, which is a large decline.
Yes.
They could do one thing, give taxes this 42% based on population, by which UP and Bihar will get more. For Bihar, give 50% more per capita. UP give 25% more per capita based on his sustainability model. Because he has prepared a fantastic sustainability model and say, invest in human capital, come out with some norms, so you meet this criticism. See, today, the big challenge in India is we're going to have delimitation. When delimitation happened, the South is going to lose its seats. Yes. 1971, the southern state, including Maharashtra, with 30% of population. Today, we are about 22%. We're going to lose our seats. UP is going to become powerful. Bihar is going to become powerful. We don't want to be ruled by more people from North India in the South. We have a problem, please. Because, they impose language. They do all kind of things. All talk is there. So there is anger. There is frustration. You've got to handle that. Maybe in the Rajya Sabha, don't increase the seats. So that the US, you have a balance between seats. So we've got to tackle this issue sympathetically by an open dialogue. And I think South has a real grievance.
Okay. I'm shifting focus a little bit towards the RCEP. When you speak of Viksit Bharat, I mean, you can't avoid China, right? China is a threat. There was a huge debate around RCEP around the time when Modi became the Prime Minister. When Mr. Modi came in, there was a pause on it. And I heard your statements recently where you are for RCEP. There is a view that India could once again become the dumping ground. Has something changed in the last few weeks or months, Mr. Subramaniam?
I'm very clear. You should see the video clip. I said we can't join NAFTA. We are not in North America. We can't join EU. We can't join RCEP because there is a China there. We can join CPTPP, which is RCEP without China. That is exactly what I said. Somebody picked it up and said, I have said join RCEP and CPTPP. Right. My exact statements were, but the larger point which I was making...